Today we're checking out the Lambo Door Conversion Kit for the 2010 to 15 Camaro. If you want your car to turn some heads every time you open the doors, this is one of those bold exterior upgrades that completely changes the vibe of the car and gives you that exotic, high-end look that people are gonna notice instantly. So they're definitely worth considering. The main feature of this kit is giving the Camaro that vertical opening exotic car style, and that is exactly why someone's gonna want it in the first place. Instead of the standard side opening door motion, this setup lets the door pivot upward for a much more dramatic entrance and a whole lot more visual impact at shows, meets, or just everyday use. It uses a pair of carbon steel hinges and high-powered gas shocks, so the doors are not just opening differently, they're built to operate with support and control. Another really nice thing here is that the setup mounts to the factory bolts and it's completely reversible, which makes it more appealing for somebody who wants a major style change without permanently committing the car forever. This is the kind of upgrade that you buy when you want the Camaro to stand out in a huge way and give those luxury sports car vibes every time you go to open the doors. Just keep in mind that this is a serious modification and it requires drilling and some welding, so it's best suited for somebody who is ready for a professional level install and wants a real showcase result. But if you stick with this, we'll show you that install just here in a minute. When it comes to the construction on this, you're getting a pair of carbon steel hinges along with the high-powered gas shocks and the mounting hardware needed for this conversion. That carbon steel build and the shock combination is what gives the door the strength to pivot vertically and still operate with the kind of support that you need in a setup just like this. As far as the pricing goes on this, it's coming in right in the $1,300 price range. For a full vertical door conversion kit that can completely change the look and the presence of the car, that makes this price very justifiable because this is more than just a cosmetic trim piece. It's a major style upgrade with real hardware behind it. When it comes to the install on this one, it's getting rated the full 3 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. You should set aside a day to get this job done right. If you aren't 100% confident in your abilities to get this one done correctly, then just go ahead and hire a professional to get it done right the first time. Now, let's check out an install process from one of our American Muscle customers with a quick video.
I used a small 3-inch cutoff wheel, a small Dremel tool with a sanding wheel on it. You've got a drill with, it is a 17/64 drill bit. You have grease gun, extra wire loom, hammer. For Allen wrenches, we have, I believe this is a 1/4 and 1/4 Allen wrench, along with a 3/16 22 millimeter for my lug nuts. Sharpie, just any blade cutting the wire loom. We have red Loctite, 2-inch painter's tape, black electrical tape. We have just some black touch-up paint, flathead screwdriver. We have a 9/16 wrench. We have a 10 and a 13 millimeter wrench going on to sockets, 10 millimeter, 8 millimeter socket. We have a 13 millimeter socket, another 13 millimeter socket, a 7 millimeter socket, somewhat interchangeable with the 9/32 standard size. For your T-bits, you will have a T25 for one, obviously an adapter for your T-bit, and the other one is a T20. More adapters and extensions for your ratchet. Obviously, ratchet. You're gonna have various pry tools, clip removal tools. So I've got various ones because there are lots and lots of clips. That is all the tools I used. So starting on to the disassembling process. You will of course need to remove your front bumper and fenders. And to start with that, we need to remove the fender liners. So you will have 1, 2 T20s back here. You will have another T20 right here, here, and up here. So you have 5 total T20s that you will have to remove. You will have 5 total clips. Let's see if I can see one back there. One right there. Another one right at the top. Right here. Let's see if I can get that glare. One right there. Another one up in the front. And then one all the way in the back. Let's see if it'll zoom in on it there. It is all the way in the back there. So I'm gonna start this by saying, take your tire off. I do not currently have access to a jack, but taking the tire off will give you much better access to everything needed for the fender liner. So let's get started with that. So I'm gonna start out with my T20s. Because I don't have my tire off, I do not have a lot of working room, so I'm just using a 1/4 inch wrench to hold my T20 bit. It is definitely not optimal, so if you have a jack, please use that to take your tires off. It'll save you a whole lot of trouble. But I'm gonna start with the rear 2 T20s. I'm just gonna remove those. And we'll start working on the clips. Going from there. So there are the rear 2 T20s. We're gonna move on to the front. The front has 3 T20s. You got one on the bottom here. So there's another one out. That is 4. We got one more a little higher up on the front, probably about a little over midway up on the tire here. All right, that is all 5 T20s removed from the fender liner. We are gonna move on to our 5 clips. I've got this clip removal tool. Once again, I'm gonna be reaching up in there because I still have the tire on. You will have much more space and access once you remove that tire. So I'm gonna start with this back one here. Just get that tool in there. Be gentle with them because the plastic is brittle, but there's one. Go up to the top here. Pop that out. There we go. There's 2. Got another one at the top on the other side. Pop that down just a little bit. Depending on how old your car is, which this kit is for, at minimum, at least a 10-year-old, 11-year-old car, this plastic will be very brittle. So please make sure you're taking time to carefully go through all that whenever you're doing this. So I believe I've got 2 more. I got 1 more all the way on this back wall behind this tire. I'm gonna get down a little bit so I can see better. Gently pop that out of place there. There's number 4. And then if your tire was on, you can look right in front of your rotor and you can see the clip all the way on the back wall right there. So I'm gonna try to watch through the tire so I can line myself up here. All right, there's all 5 clips. I think I forgot to mention in the when I was going over everything that's in it, it does have 3 7mm bolts holding it to the bumper. And those are right up in front, and I will show you where they are at in a second. Right at the front here. Once they get loose enough, I'll take the ratchet off, put that socket on there, and just a hand undo it as long as I've got them loose enough. Right. There's 1 7mm with a washer. All of your T20s and 7mm will have a washer on them. Make sure you don't lose that for when you reinstall it back on there. Alright. That's the second 7mm. Got one more part of that. Alright. So, in total, on each fender liner, it's the same on the passenger side. You will have 3 7mm, 5 T20 bolts, and 5 clips holding that in place. We're gonna give it our best shot here. Start up by kind of popping one side out. Pop that other side down. I'm gonna pop out the front first. Kind of maneuver it maybe back. Maybe that's the way. There she is. Now, obviously, and I've said it a couple times, it's so much easier if your tire's off. I just do not have access to a jack right now, so taking the hard path. But yeah, that is how you remove your fender liners. It's the exact same for the other side. So I will put this down, we will move on to the front bumper. Alright, so I did end up buying a jack and jack stands and taking the tire off so that we can have easier access to the bumper. So we got 3 10mm right here, here, and that one right up there, and 1 7mm right here that we need to take off for the bumper. On the top, we have 1 10mm, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's like 6 clips, another 10mm over in the corner. So I've loosened all those, getting ready for this, but we have all those there. On the passenger side, it's the same thing as on the other side. We've got 3 10s right there that we need to loosen, and then 1 7mm right here that disconnects these 2 pieces. On the bottom side, we have got 10mm and another 10mm. So I'm gonna get this set up and we are gonna take this bumper off. 10mm. Got one. Grab my clip tool. We're gonna just go down the edge here, gently trying to pop all these clips out without breaking them. So that's 1. There's 2, 4, 5, and 6. So that is the top of the bumper done, and we will move to the bottom of the side. All right, down to the underneath of the car. You got your 3 10s you're gonna take out. All right, there's one. Another one about midway up. And that third and final one is definitely up there. You can't even see it on video. It's right above this piece of metal here and straight back. So I've got an extension to reach it. A difficult one to reach. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and work on this 7mm here. 3 10s, 1 7mm. Same on the other side. We're not gonna show that just for time's sake, but it's the exact same on the other side. Onto the bottom here of the bumper, you got 2 10mm holding it in place. Pop. Alright, there's one. Move down here to the next one. Alright, that is the two. So coming back to underneath the bumper, where we took those 3 bolts out, and that 1 7mm right there, we do have 1 10mm right here that we need to remove to release this bumper. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll show pulling off the bumper. So bumper is ready to take off. I'm doing this low, so you're just gonna lift up in the middle. Alright. Your bumper is off, set to the side, and we'll move on to the fenders. Alright, moving on to the removal of the fender. We have 10mm right here, and then another 10mm right there. So we got 3 on top. We'll have 1 10mm right here next to the bolt that we took out for the bumper. Underneath this rocker panel, we will have 2. You can see the backs of them. We got one right here and one just a little bit further back. And then behind this foam here, I don't know if I can unscrew that right now. Behind that foam, you've got one more 10mm. And then when we open up the door here, you will have that 10mm right there. So all of those, let me see if it'll focus. That 10mm right there is what you will be taking out, and all of that will let you remove the fender. So let me get this camera set up and we'll get to it. All right, we're gonna start with the top 3 that I pointed out earlier. There's one fender, there's another. I'm gonna go real gentle so I don't get too much stuff here. Alright, that is all 3 10mm for the upper. So that is 4. I've got a couple pry tools here to try to help me get those out. It's definitely very much so tight fit. So we can pop that out. That's 1. That's 2 clips out. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that foam piece I showed you guys just so I can get a better image here of what I'm working with. It just has a metal washer kind of threaded on a bolt to hold it in place. So once you get it a little bit loose off that foam, you should be able to just thread it off by turning it to the left. It is tight because that foam is very much pressed against it, but once you start loosening it, it'll keep going a lot easier for you. Alright, there's that metal washer that was on that bolt. And here is the foam that was holding in place with the bolt coming through the middle. So we'll set that aside and keep working on the bottom here now that we can see a little bit easier. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but we've got 1 10mm right there. So we're gonna slip on in and get that out. All right, it's one of 2 that are underneath this panel here. We've got a couple pry tools to try to help this along. It's still definitely difficult, but hopefully they can help you get some of these clips out. See if I can't get this socket on there. to get it off. Alright. Go ahead and take that last one down there off. There's your second 10mm underneath that panel. It's nice and loose now. We can get the 10mm that was behind that foam piece. Real easy, just look straight back. There's a bolt with a nut. Start loosening it. Once you get it loose, just reach your hand back there, and this one is a nut. Basically on a stud from the body itself there. So loosen that nut and Alright, so in total you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 10mm bolts and one 10mm nut. So let's see if we can pull this off here. You're gonna have some foam fall out of there. And there's that. There's your fender. And now we can start working on the actual door itself. Alright, before we can really start messing with the hinges, we need to remove the door panel so we can remove the door stop, because that will not be being used with this door hinge. So to do that, you have 3 7mm bolts holding up your door panel. Got one right here, one right here. Where's that last one? And one up top, up here. So here, here, here. You have a, what is that? A T25 underneath your little, you got a little pocket area in here. You got a T25 sitting underneath there. And then you have another 7mm hiding behind this panel on the door. So we are gonna get into that. Removing all of those. And start with the 7mm. Might grab an impact real quick. So, 7mm bolts. One right here. Out. One right here. Out. Got 2 of those. One up top. Just drop them everywhere. So you got 3 there. This speaker will need to come up. So if you have a pry tool, pop that speaker up. It's held in by 2 clips. Should come up pretty easily, but I mean, it's in there. Alright. It's plugged in, so go ahead and unplug that speaker. Set that off to the side. We will get our T25 from the little pocket area right underneath your window controls. Pop that out. One T25 screw. You can use a flathead screwdriver if you trust yourself, or any type of pry tool. I'm gonna use both to try to wiggle it on out. So pull that out. I pop it in the top right corner and kind of press inward with it. There's that little plate. From there you've got your 7mm right behind there. So pop that out. So that should be all the screws holding this in place. From there, you have multiple clips all along your door, along the top. So let me take this, gently pop that in there. Try to get the first one loose. Alright, that popped out of there real nice. But once you open this up, you will have some wires attached. Obviously your speaker wire that you took out earlier. You should have, looks like 3 wires for this side, 4. Alright, I've done my best to set this up, to kind of show you what we're taking off. So if you see right here, this is your basically your door handle cable. So we're gonna come up here. Let's go ahead and unplug some of this first. Get this out of our way. Some of this is a little bit more in there than the passenger side. The passenger side is definitely more simple. But for this cable right here, it's got a little green. You can't really see it here. It's got a green piece of plastic that you're gonna pull back to release it, and then you will rotate that and just pop that out. You're gonna pull back one section, pop it a little bit farther back. Alright, it just pulled out, door cable's out. So this is what you'll be pulling back against to get that clip out, and then you'll just rotate it and pop it out of there. Got a couple more wires here. This one's a little sideways one. This one's a pull up and out. We have just one more connected. So let's see what we're working with here. Just to squeeze down on both of those white tabs, it looks like. There we go. It's an interesting plug-in. I think that's your trunk button right there. Alright, so the main reason we really had to take the door panel off was for this door stop right here. It's got a 10mm right there and 2 10mm nuts right here. And that comes out from behind this speaker. So once you undo that bolt and these 2 nuts, you're gonna pull it out through the hole left by the speaker. And the speaker is held on by one 7mm nut right here. Go ahead and pop that out. Gonna pop that out, and then you are gonna kind of grab it. So pull down when you got it. You got this clip right here that was holding it in place. We'll go ahead and unplug that. Little press down clip. There you are. That's out of the way. Now I'm gonna put a 10mm onto my impact. One thing I noticed when I did the other side, this bolt will have Loctite on it, almost 100%. So your impact, if you got a good one, it'll probably do fine. All right, so it's still holding some pressure, so that bolt's gonna be hard to pull out. I'm gonna lift up on the door and move it, and there we are. So that is what stops your door from coming in and out very suddenly. This kind of holds it in place. So one 10mm bolt out of there, and then I'm gonna go ahead and use a 10mm wrench on these 2 nuts that are holding this back piece in the door. These might have, well, I think they're just tight. But yeah, that one bolt, you can see it has blue Loctite on it. Let's go ahead and get these 2 nuts off. You will not be reusing this part after you install the hinge. So go ahead and slide that out. There's your whole part. You will not be using this with that new hinge because it will not allow your door to go up. So you don't have to set this somewhere, you're gonna remember it. That part is done. So before we can install the new vertical door hinge, we need to get rid of this fender bracket the fender was sitting on earlier. It's got 2 welds right in there that we are going to have to drill out. So we're going to go ahead and start that process here. I'm gonna give it a little bit of lubrication there. Maybe a lot of lubrication. So I can see a hole into the body there. Made that hole a little bit bigger. We're gonna go ahead and get this bottom one. Do a little bit of lubrication. All right, that is out. So, let me grab a rag, wipe away all that metal there. Clean this up a little bit for us here. I'm gonna take a flathead screwdriver, come from the top. And there that bracket is. Honestly, not too bad. Undo these bolts. These are 13s and 13s. You're gonna have 2 10mm bolts at the top, and then 2 right here at the bottom, and then your 2 13s. And that is the 2 hinges that hold the door on. So we will get to removing those. We are gonna just take nice long pieces of tape and basically secure the door to the car so that when we take off that hinge, this will not be moving anywhere. And I mean, put plain, you know, you don't want this coming off. This painter's tape is not gonna destroy your paint. And this is gonna be the main thing holding your door on until you get that new hinge installed and tightened down. You know, don't be afraid to do a good amount. We can also go ahead and mark our factory locations for where our door is sitting. So I'm gonna tape right here. Get it nice and smooth right there. I'm gonna take a Sharpie and just draw a couple reference lines going straight across so that when that new hinge is on and I start adjusting it, I can try to line these lines up. I'm going to do that down here and along the bottom as well. So we'll go ahead and do right here. Just draw a nice straight line across. They don't need to be cut right now, but when that new hinge is on, you're going to want to open your door and do adjustments and keep coming back to these pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these preemptively with a razor blade. Just curl that paint in. Make sure those lines still look good to you where they're sitting now that it's cut. They do. My tape, make sure I have enough that I'm comfortable. I think it'll hold the door in place. I'm gonna do one on the bottom here. And all these 3 are just to help you with your adjustments when you get that new hinge on. So I'm gonna cut that. All that looks good. I'm gonna put just a couple more pieces up here. All right, she's taped up, she is marked. We are ready to uninstall the factory hinge and install our vertical door hinge. I'm gonna go ahead and show the hardware and the hinge before we get started, because it's gonna be kind of a quick process. Once I remove those, I'm gonna wanna get this up as quick as I can. So you got 8 washers, you got 4 small 13 or shorter 13mm and 4 longer 13mm. The longer ones are going to go to the body side, and the shorter ones are going to go to the door side. On your hinge here, This area is your body side, this area is your door side. So that's about it. We've got one of our adjustment screws is loose, it's not touching. So this is our shock bolt, that is hand loose, that'll be easier to take off. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this thing on. You got 4 13s, so let's go ahead, let's go ahead and start with the door side. Make sure that doesn't fall off anywhere. So go ahead and remove those 4. There's one. I'm keeping an eye on my tape while I'm doing this in case I see any drastic movements out of it for the door falling or anything. So just be safe, keep an eye on it, make sure. It's always good to have a helper, so I'm being extra vigilant on all my safety things. This is the last one, so this is the last bit that's holding your door. Just want to make sure it doesn't drop too much. Alright, this door is hanging here. You got a 13, you got 4 of those. Those 2 inside ones are a little bit tight to get. So. Alright, this hurts some movement, so very close to the door there, so I want to make sure I'm not rubbing against the paint or anything. Go ahead and just undo this by hand at the end here. Alright, that is one of your door hinges off. One more bolt to go, and the factory hinges will be gone. So this one's another one, kind of at an angle. Just take it slow. Alright. Got that loose. And that is your factory hinges off. Let's go ahead and get the new ones on. I'm gonna start this by saying this vertical door hinge is heavy. 2 people, definitely helpful to get it on, but we're gonna get this going myself here. So you're gonna pop that up in there. It's gonna be real tight on that wire harness for your door, so I'm gonna go up and over, try to push back a little bit. Let's see if I can get this around without squishing too much stuff. It's definitely tight on it. You got your long bolt and a washer, 13 millimeter. Gonna hand start. Alright, it's holding. Let me get this second bolt in here. Second bolt is hand started. Again, not very far. Maybe I'll take my ratchet, tighten that down a little bit. Get another long bolt with washer, put it on this bottom part, and put your 4 shorter bolts into the door. Pretty decent, not too bad. Let's see if I can get that started. Alright, looks like I got that started. I'm gonna tighten that down a little bit just to pull in that other bolt spot a little bit closer to me so that I can work with it. I'm gonna make sure these are a little bit loose so that they have some wiggle room, because you don't want the door pulling back when you screw in those bolts. You want these have some wiggle room. You want this to be able to move forward when you tighten this and pull the hinge to a more factory location for less adjustments later on. So let's see if we can thread that one in. Let's get it wrapped on there. And I can also hear my tape creaking. Get this all tight. So that one's a little bit far, and we'll tighten this one down a little bit. Move that over a little bit. Get that threaded in there. So that is all 8 of our bolts for the hinge in. Now it's a matter of tightening them all up. Let the hinge move. Let's get this one. So there's grease on some of these fittings. So you're gonna tighten. I'm gonna go through and go ahead and tighten the body bolts. Get those down nice and tight. Down as tight as they can go. Alright, so we're just gonna go through, tighten these. That one's good. The loose one. Make sure all of these are very, very snug. You will have adjustments to do, but it will not be with these bolts after this, hopefully. As long as your door stayed basically in its factory location, you shouldn't have too much adjustments to do. And there it is on. Now it is time for some adjustments. So before we attach the hinge, we have an adjustment screw right here. This is not the hinge, your shock. This is your shock screw. And then your shock will attach, come down here. Bottom of the shock will go in here, top of the shock will screw in here. These threads get Loctite. The part where the shock sits will get some grease, and the back of the shock where it sits against this metal will get some grease. But this adjustment screw right here, before we even open this door to allow it up, we are going to be taking a 3/16 Allen wrench, coming in here, and we are going to tighten it all the way until that bolt is hitting against this piece of metal here. Tighten that bolt just until it hits the body, because if you open your door without that being tight first, your door is going to drop a lot, and that can be a little bit scary. It's all okay, but you don't want it to possibly hit anything and break anything. So we are just gonna come in here, slowly but surely push that against it. This is your adjustment screw and adjustment nut for basically your up and down on like the back end of the door. So your door catch and door latch, this is the screw that you're gonna be using to adjust that. So it comes loose to start out with. So if you were to open the door right now, it is going to drop. You're gonna keep tightening that just until it hits that metal. So when I open this door to put that shock into place, the door does not drop on me. This next step, you really want a helper, somebody to hold the door or put the shock in. We're gonna see if I can't do that alone, and see how that goes for me. But we'll get set up as best as we can before doing that. So it is now hitting against the metal. You can see it kind of push the door out a little bit here, but that is set. So we are ready to take this shock bolt out. All right. This is where your shock will be sitting. This gets grease. Your threads on this get red Loctite. So that is a must. It said it will void warranty if that is not done. So grease this, grease the back of your shock where it sits against that metal, and red Loctite on those threads. So let me get that set up. All right, I have the shock sitting in its place on the bottom. I've already put the bolt through there, grease on the back and on the bolt side. And I have yet to put the Loctite on. That's gonna be kind of right before I put it in there. So its screw hole is right here, which means we have to lift the door up to be able to put that into place. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the rest of the tape. This bolt will be a 1/4 inch Allen wrench. for that bolt there. So I'm gonna put just a little bit of red Loctite on these threads here. And now I'm gonna lift up the door and try to get this in here myself. So the door comes out good. I'm gonna pick it up from the bottom, get past that little stopper. Basically gotta come all the way up as far as you can get it there. I'm not yet there. So as you can see, the door is fully held up. Pop it down. Once it gets down to the bottom, the door's own weight will stop it. Let's see. We will have a little hole. You're gonna hammer this locking pin in there. Let's say that's good. Let's give you a close-up on the hinge opening. So there's a door stop that will stop you from opening it all the way up too early. That is right here. Make sure you grease this. Just put a little bit of grease on that nub so it slides a little bit smoother on that metal. Once you open it past that, just comes right on up. I'm gonna move you over here for a second just to see my lines here. So the lines are very in line right there. Once you've finalized your adjustment there, you're gonna have to tighten up this nut. So you're gonna take your Allen wrench in here, take your Allen wrench in there, hold it in place, and then you're gonna turn this nut. Take everything out, open up the door again. I'm gonna even lift the door up and bring it back down just to make sure nothing's moving too much. So there it is up, bring it back down, close it, and that closes just about perfect. Make sure it's already set pretty good. If your door wasn't coming out far enough, you would loosen this screw. If it's coming out maybe too far for you, you would tighten that screw. But honestly, that one's looking pretty good. It's not rubbing that door stop on the way up. So it's looking quite decent there. And if that's good, your adjustments on this are basically all done. Now we can add some grease to the fittings here. And pop that on. Tighten this. They come pre-greased, but the instructions still tell you to grease it. So we are just gonna put some grease. See it coming out. So it's already got a good bit in it. We're gonna come down here, do the same thing. I've just got a little hand pump grease gun and some grease for it. So we're just gonna go, ooh, okay. Let's see if one of these other ones will do a little bit better. All right, so that one's tight. I don't know why that one popped out on me, but that was not expected to happen. Definitely got a little bit of grease around my shock and whatnot. So we're gonna wipe that down. I'm gonna come in at an angle, see if we can't pop some grease in there. All right, you can see it coming out. Let's say that's good. Yeah, instructions definitely tell you to make sure you grease every fitting. Watch it in motion again here, just real quick before we move on. So out, stop, and up. And just like that, your vertical door hinge is installed. So let's move on to the modification of the fender. So whenever you order these kits, you're gonna get a little instruction pamphlet with a QR code with all the instructions, and this is basically where I know where it shows in the instructions to tape to cut your inner fender. So right here was that attachment for that bracket we just took off, and we are gonna cut with the cutoff wheel along the inside of that tape right there. Just cut all that metal out. We're gonna go over it with the sander and then do some touch-up paint just to cover up the raw metal. That is nice and cut off. Might not be the cleanest job, but I mean, you're cutting into your fender. So, safety glasses, I've got those on. Be very careful when you're doing this. And then you're gonna go over here with the sander and sand all this down, paint the raw metal, and then you're just about be ready to get it up on the car. Got my rotary tool with a little sanding circle on it. Nice and smooth, not a whole lot of sharp edges. Some of the cutoff wheel might fold some metal behind the back there. Most of that just kind of pulls off. You can see a whole piece like that. So just clean it up real nice, and then you can take your tape off. Grab some touch-up paint. I'm just gonna go through and cover up my raw metal from cutting. Just gonna go through. I'd say she's just about ready to put on the car now. So let us get to that. So coming back to our hinge here, we've got a bracket that was supplied to us. A short, what is that, 13 I believe? Yep, the shortest 13 in the kit, and a washer. And we are going to put this bracket just like that, kind of matching the way this top one is set up, a little bit further up. So we are going to be putting the short side to the hinge, long side towards the door. So we'll get our bolt and our washer. We'll go ahead and thread that in, and after we get this in, we're gonna kind of test fit our fender up here so we can make a mark where this bracket touches our fender, and we will be drilling a hole. I'm gonna come back off that, straighten it up a little bit, try to hold it as straight as we can. Nope. Tap that upwards. We're gonna test fit our fender up here. We're gonna set it up, use a little Sharpie or something to mark where this hole lines up with your fender after you cut it. And we're gonna drill a hole in our fender to pop this little bolt on there. We're gonna pop this black piece onto the bracket like this. And then we're gonna put the bolt coming this way. So when we open up the door, we can do this top bolt and this bolt. All right, after we cut the fender, you're gonna set the fender back up, kind of make sure all your holes are just about lined up in there. This one's a little bit off, so try to line them all up, get them where they're sitting. And you've got that bracket on the inside. This one's gonna be facing the door. So you're gonna open up your door, come on in here. You're gonna mark right there on your fender because you are gonna be drilling a hole right in that spot. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark that, set it down, drill it, and then I will reinstall it and I'll show you putting that bolt in. All right, we're gonna bring the fender back over. We just drilled it out. And you're gonna come back. Pop in the bottom on that rocker. Check the top. Make sure your panels are going to pull it a little bit back. We are going to grab our fender bolts. Start with this front one here. Tighten that down. Push this in a little bit. Get that one seated all good. And then we have the very tight one right here. Get that nice and snug. Pop that into place. Alright, we're going to go ahead and do our bottom two underneath this rocker panel. So, still haven't taken this off, so it's going to be, let's see if we can pull this down and hold this up at the same time here, one hand. Alright, there's the first one. Let's pressure on this panel here. Alright, that one is in. I'm gonna go ahead and pop these clips back up in my panel here. Alright, we are gonna get right into it here. So we have the factory fender attachment here, and then the new one that we drilled right there. So we're gonna put our bolts in like normal up top. So we're gonna come up here, lift that up, screw that in, get that nice and tight, and then we're gonna move down to this one here. So this one's a little bit tight. I might pop this out and move this to the back side of the fender back here. I think that'll give it a better flushness of the fender. So let me do that real quick. Alright, so I flipped that bracket around by basically just loosening that 13 millimeter and just flipping it back and popping this side in front now. And now it lines up pretty good. So we're gonna take the black clip that came with it. Let's try to line this up as good as we can here. Alright, it's not perfect, but let's see if I can't pop this in there and kind of pop it up the right way. Alright, that looks just about lined up. Then we're going to take our silver bolt that came with that clip that was all attached there with our washer, still a 10, and we are going to try threading that through there. We're going to take our 10 millimeter ratchet, not too crazy because it doesn't have a lot of threads to catch it, but as long as you're tight there, everything feels right, everything looks good, then you're good. As you can see, it is fully attached there. I'm going to be cutting this boot in half, putting some wire loom and electrical taping, because my wires, they have enough slack, it's just the boot is too tight. So we're going to be cutting that in half, wire looming it, electrical taping it to keep everything nice and sealed. So we'll get into that right now. Alright, I've made sure I have enough wire slack by going inside your kicker panel, right on the inside, right here, and undoing one of the clips, and you can see it definitely has enough slack to be moving around there. So this boot though is pretty tough, so we're gonna come in here. Let me see if I can get you a little closer. We're gonna come in here and carefully cut the middle of this here, this boot. I'm gonna cut outward, make sure I'm not catching any wires. Obviously be very careful cutting into this, as there are wires in there. So I'm gonna come down, cut out. Alright, there's just a little tiny bit holding it right at the top here. I mean, just take your time. Don't rush this. You don't want to cut any of these wires. So I want this boot all the way back. by the car and hooked into place. So, going with this boot, I had to cut some of the back of the boot that was wrapped around by the wire loom on the inside of the car to be able to move it back. But I've got all this open. I've got some new, smaller wire loom we're gonna pop around there to just try to cover up what is not covered up by the OEM boot. Let's go ahead, wrap all that around. Alright, so just like that, door is fully up right now. So this is how it'll be sitting. So we're gonna start up here on the boot. I'm just gonna see if I can't get around here to get it nice and looped. Definitely a little tight fit. I'm twisting it up a little bit, but pull it through, get it nice and tight. Just try to make sure you're getting good connection on each layer before it. Trying to get a nice watertight seal. So if any water were to get in this area, it won't be getting in your wire loom. So, see, I've got it kind of connected here. I'm going to do the same process, tear me off a nice piece. Doesn't look too bad. But there you go. Now you have a nice waterproof area there. End steps for this install is obviously reinstall your bumper. Same way you put it on, nothing's changed. Reinstall your fender liners, and that is it.
That's going to wrap up our review and install of the Lambo Door Conversion Kit for the 2010 to 15 Camaros. And for all things Camaro, keep it right here at American Muscle.